Every organization, whether it's a giant global airline or just a small community project, needs a plan. But here's a wild idea. What if the wrong plan is actually better than no plan at all? That's really the core of what we're digging into today. Operation strategy, which is basically the map for getting things done. And believe it or not, it all starts with this strange military story.
So picture this, a small group of soldiers completely and utterly lost in the snowy Alps. It's been 2 days. Hope is gone. They are ready to give up. And then one of them finds a map in his pocket. All of a sudden, everything changes. They have a guide. They rally, they follow this map, and somehow they find their way back to safety. But here's the kicker. When they finally get back to base, they realize the map wasn't for the Alps at all. It was a map of the Pyrenees, a totally different mountain range hundreds of miles away.
So, what on earth is the moral here? Well, it's that a plan, a strategy, even a completely imperfect one, is incredibly powerful. It gives people a shared purpose, it gives them a direction, and maybe most importantly, it gives them the confidence to actually do something. That map, even though it was wrong, gave those soldiers the focus they needed to get themselves out. Okay, so let's take that idea of a map and apply it to a very real problem that desperately needed one. We're heading to Manitoba, Canada, where a group of community leaders and researchers were staring down a massive challenge. This is the number that started it all, 28%. Just let that sink in for a second. It might not sound like much, but this number represents a kind of quiet crisis. So what is this 28%? It's the share of kids in Manitoba who every single year walk into their first day of kindergarten without the basic skills in literacy, numeracy, and just general wellness that they need to really thrive. I mean, we're talking about thousands of kids who are already playing catch-up from day one. And when you dig into that number, it gets even more serious. We're talking about roughly 5,000 children affected every year. And for Indigenous kids, the situation is even more critical. For them, that figure jumps to nearly 45%. That's almost 1 in every 2 kids. This was a problem that absolutely demanded a plan. So, to tackle this head-on, this amazing team of university researchers and community leaders created something called the Toy Box Project. The goal was simple: provide free, high-quality learning activities to families, but this is exactly where they needed a map. It's a fantastic idea, but they were facing these huge strategic questions. How do you even start? How could they possibly reach everyone? Who was going to do all the work? And of course, how were they going to pay for it all? So how did they go about building their map? Well, they used the core principles of operations strategy to turn their big mission into a concrete plan. So let's break down the key decisions they had to make. All right, the very first question any project has to answer is about scale. It's really about understanding the size of your dream and then matching it against the resources you actually have in your pocket. For the Toy Box team, this meant figuring out just how many kids they were trying to help and how they were going to fund the whole thing. In the world of operations, this is what's known as capacity strategy. It's all about those big picture decisions: how big your operation needs to be, where you're going to set up shop, and when you plan to grow or even shrink. It's basically the foundational blueprint for everything you're about to do. So let's look at how Toybox defined its capacity. First, their target audience. They went big. They decided to target every single child in Manitoba between the ages of 2 and 8. That's over 130,000 kids. Now, to make that possible, they got creative with funding, piecing together government grants and donations from partners. And for their team, they built a really smart, lean operation, a core group of professors and leaders powered by the energy and hard work of student interns. Okay, so they've got a handle on their size and scope. But now comes the next huge question. It's one thing to create over 230 amazing learning activities, but how do you actually get them into the hands of families who are scattered all across this massive province? And this brings us to our next big idea: supply network strategy. This is really all about deciding what work you're going to do yourself versus what you might pay someone else to do. And, crucially, it's about how you manage all those relationships with partners to actually get your service to the people who need it. It's about building the delivery routes for your idea. And the solution Toybox came up with was pretty brilliant. They knew not everyone had reliable internet, so they created this two-pronged approach. For families who were online, they used email, their website, and social media. For everyone else, they actually printed and mailed physical activity booklets.
And by keeping all the content creation in-house and then partnering with trusted local organizations to distribute everything, they built a network that could truly reach everyone. All of this brings up a really crucial point about strategy. It isn't just about what you decide to do, it's maybe even more about what you decide not to do. This is the art of the trade-off, and it's where good strategies become great ones.
There's this great line from a Harvard professor, Wickham Skinner, that just nails it. He said, "You can't design a 500-passenger jumbo jet that can also land on an aircraft carrier. It's just impossible." A system that's designed to do one thing really, really well is almost always going to be terrible at doing something else. You have to choose. Think about it in a classic business sense, right? There's this constant tug of war between being low cost and offering high-end service. If you want to be cheap, you standardize everything for maximum efficiency. If you want to provide amazing service, you offer all these custom options and premium features, which of course cost more money. You really can't be the absolute best at both at the same time. Southwest Airlines is the textbook example of this. They were absolutely ruthless about their trade-offs to become the lowest cost airline. They decided to fly only one kind of airplane, the Boeing 737, which slashed their maintenance and training costs. No meals, no assigned seats. They flew out of cheaper secondary airports. Every single decision was made to serve that one primary goal. They chose their map and they stuck to it. So what does all this, the capacity, the network, the trade-offs, what does it all lead to? Well, it leads to the ultimate goal of any operations strategy, creating that perfect map where what you have and what you want to do are in absolute, perfect alignment. And really, this is the core of it. The essence of a winning strategy is achieving that perfect fit. It's that beautiful, seamless connection between what the world or your community really needs and what your operation is uniquely built to deliver. And this is where it all comes together for the Toybox project. Look at this. On the left, you have what the community needed, the goal. And on the right, you have the exact operational tool they built to meet that need. To reach the entire province, they built that multi-channel network. To provide free content, they leveraged their university partnership and grant funding. To make sure it was trusted, everything was backed by solid educational research. Goal, tool, goal, tool. It's a perfect match. And that right there, that alignment, that perfect fit, that is the map. It's not a map of the Pyrenees when you're stuck in the Alps. It's the right map for the right journey at exactly the right time. It gives an entire organization clarity and purpose and a real, confident path forward. It turns a great idea into something real and powerful. So when you boil it all down, a great operations strategy is about a few key things. First, figuring out your capacity, what you can really do. Second, building your supply network, how you're going to deliver it. Third, making those tough but smart trade-offs, choosing what not to do. And finally, achieving that perfect fit between your goals and your tools. So I'll leave you with this question. Think about the most important project in your world right now. What's its map? Thanks for watching.